Over the long history of the NHL, we've seen some really good logos and also some really bad ones. So today, I'll be looking at the evolution of each NHL team's logos. I'll be giving my opinion on which one is the best and which one is the worst. So let's go. Alright, so I got this website here where it has the evolution of the National Hockey League logo designs. So it has all the teams here, so we'll just be going down the list. And it has all the NHL teams and all their logos in their history. So the first one is obviously the Anaheim Ducks. So we got the duck mask as the first one that they started with in the 1993-1994 season. And then they moved on to this Anaheim Ducks one, and then the present one, which is just the D. Now, obviously, the best one will be the first one with the duck mask. It's just so iconic, and it's just a nice logo overall. And the worst one would have to be the middle one right here that just says Anaheim Ducks. It's just not that great of a logo. So now we'll move on to the Boston Bruins, one of the oldest teams in NHL history. They've had quite a few redesigns in their history. So obviously started in the 1924-1925 season, and this is the present logo. So the worst one for me is definitely the 1948-1949 logo. This one's just absolutely horrible. And I think my favorite one is actually the 1950 to the 1995 one. I just like the simplistic look. The current one is also really nice, but I think this one is my favorite. Moving on to the Buffalo Sabres. The best one is definitely the goat head here. Goat head is definitely my favorite. The worst one is this one, the 2007 and 2010. I don't know what they were thinking with this one. From the goat head to this one, it has to be one of the worst redesigns in NHL history. It's an absolutely horrible redesign. And then now they kind of went back to the original logo. But for me, the goat head is definitely the best. Moving on to the Flames. It's not that big of a difference, and there's only two of them. And I think I prefer the original one without the black outline. I mean, it does look a lot more vintage, and I like vintage logos. So the first one, the original one, is the better one for me. Next, the Hurricanes. Again, just two logos and barely any redesign at all. They just made the red a slightly darker red. But I think I prefer the lighter red, just slightly. Obviously, it's not that big of a difference. Next, we got the Chicago Blackhawks, another really old NHL team, another original six team. So my favorite is just the current logo. It's just nice, lots of detail. It's one of the best logos in the league. And my least favorite is probably just the first one, just because there's just no color in it at all. It's just black and white. It's kind of boring. Moving on to the Avalanche, another one where it's barely any difference. It's just a slightly different shade of maroon. But I think the current one is slightly better. I just think the color fits better with the logo. Next, I got the Blue Jackets, and that first logo is one of the worst sports logos I've ever seen. That first logo is absolutely horrible, and I've seen a lot of people actually hate on the current Blue Jackets logo. I actually really like it. So that one is definitely the one that I prefer for the Blue Jackets. The Stars, I think the best one would be the 1995 to 1999 one. I'm not quite sure what the difference is between the 1999 one and the 2013 one. I think the shade of green is slightly different, but I think I prefer the 1995 to 1999 one. And my least favorite is probably the 1993-1994. I just don't like the bright green in the logo, but it's still pretty decent. Next, I got the Red Wings, which has stayed relatively the same, but it's kind of been squished in like 1934 to 1998, 1948. It was a little squished, so that's probably my least favorite. My favorite is just the present one. It's just probably the best logo in the entire league. And the worst one's probably the middle one right there. Next, I got the Oilers, which has stayed exactly the same other than some color differences. In 1997 to 2011, they did have that red ring around it, which I'm not a big fan of, so that's probably my least favorite. And then my favorite one is probably the 1974-1979 one. I like the lighter blue. I think it just looks nice. Next, got the Panthers, which is another one that looks almost identical, but if you look at the red on the Panther, it is a slightly different shade. And obviously they have the new logo here. I'll throw that up on screen now. I think I prefer the very first logo, and then the worst one would be the current one. It's still a very nice logo, but I just don't think it compares to this one. Next about the Kings, who have had some very, very nice logos. And my favorite, I think, would be the 1976-1988 one. I love the gold, or the yellow and the purple. I think it looks really nice. My least favorite would have to be the 1999 to 2002 one. It's just, it doesn't really stay with the theme of the first three. It just doesn't really look that nice. I do like the current logo though. Next we have the Minnesota Wild, which has stayed the exact same, except for they did get rid of the text here along the top. The text is not there, and I think I prefer it without the text. So I guess their current one would be better than the original one. The original one with the text. Next, got the Montreal Canadiens, who have had many, many logos. They've stayed relatively the same, with the same concept, just to see with the H in the middle, most of the time at least. But it has had slight design changes. So, obviously the best one would be the present one, the current one right here. And then the worst one would definitely be the first one, 1909 to 1910. It's just a blue sea. It's absolutely horrible. I could do a better job easily. So the first one is the worst, the current one is the best. Next, we got the Nashville Predators. The original one had more detail, but I don't really like it. So I think I'm gonna go with the Nashville Predators is the better one. Next, we got the New Jersey Devils. And the last two are not that different, but I think I'm gonna have to go 1993 and 1999 on this one. I just think the brighter color looks slightly better. I don't really like the green outline and the green circle in the 1983 and 1992 one. So I'm going to have to go with the middle one as the best and the original one as the worst. Next, we got the Islanders. And I know people hate on the fisherman logo, or at least used to. I know a lot of people like it now. But that is probably my favorite logo. And my least favorite would have to be the 1998 to 2010. I know it's pretty iconic with that shade of blue, but I just don't think it looks as nice as the newer one and the original one. So next we got the Rangers here, and I think the best would have to just be the current one. Just they changed the shade of blue, and I think moved the white lines up a little bit. I think it just looks better than the one before it. And the worst one would probably be the 1948 to 1953 one. It's just not, it's pretty different from the rest, and I just don't think it looks that great. Next, we got the Senators. Obviously, they went back to the 1998 to 2007 one, and that is definitely my favorite design. I'm glad they went back to this one, because my least favorite would, I was about to say this one, the last one, but I'm gonna have to go 1993 and 1997, sorry. It's pretty similar to their current one that they're using right now, but I don't really like the text there, and the face looks slightly different. Next, we got the Flyers, which is another logo that stayed exactly the same. They have absolutely no redesigns in their history, so obviously this one is the best one. Next, we got the Arizona Coyotes. They did go back to the Kachina logo here, the first one, just without the text. I'll throw that up on screen now, and that is definitely my favorite one. And my least favorite would have to be this one right here, the 2004 to present, which I think they stopped using in like the 2021 season. It was somewhere around there. Next, got the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, my favorite would have to be the 1993 to 2000 logo. It's really iconic, and it's just really nice looking. And my least favorite would have to be the original one. They only use this for one season before switching to the next one without the scarf and the blue ring around it. And it just doesn't look that nice, I'm going to be honest, so that is my least favorite one. Next, we got the San Jose Sharks. Now, the current one is definitely better than the old one. The old one is still nice, but it looks a little bit too cartoony a little bit, so I prefer the original one. Next, we got the St. Louis Blues. Now, I think I like the 1988 to 1998 one the most. I like the red outline. I just think it looks really nice with the blue. And my least favorite would probably be the 1985 to 1987 one. I think the actual music note is exactly the same as the 1998, or 1998 one. But I don't really like the text that says Blues over the top. I think it just kind of ruins the logo, and I'm glad they removed that. Next, got the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, I'm not a big fan of any of their logos, I'm going to be honest. But I think their best one would just be their present one, their current one right here. It's nice and simple, and it doesn't look too bad. And my least favorite, I think, would have to be the original one. I don't really like the look of the lightning bolt. I think they should have probably put an outline on the top line right here so you can kind of see it better. It's just not that nice of a logo. Next, got the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, obviously, this last design here is outdated. They do have a new one, which I'll obviously throw up on screen now. So I think their present one would have to be the best one, and their worst one would have to be the original. I don't know why they used green to start off their franchise, but they did, and it didn't really look that nice. Next, we got the Vancouver Canucks. Now, I think I'm gonna go with the skate one. I was debating going with the Canucks with the red outline, but I think I'm gonna go with the skate one. I'm not sure what the difference is between these two, the two skate ones. I don't really see any difference, but either one works as my favorite. And then my least favorite is gonna be the original with the stick through it. It's too simple. It just doesn't look that great. Next, got the Capitals. Now, my favorite is obviously gonna be the Eagle one. It just looks really, really nice. My second favorite, and a pretty close second, would have to be the 2003 to 2007 one. Looks really nice. And then my least favorite would have to be their original one. Their logo now is absolutely horrible. My least favorite logo in the league is just so boring. But the original one is somehow even worse. And last but not least, we have the Winnipeg Jets, which has stayed the same throughout their entire their franchise history. So obviously, this one is the best and also the worst. Now, obviously, this website does not have the Seattle Kraken or the Las Vegas Golden Knights, but their logos have stayed the exact same, obviously, throughout their short history. So there's not much to talk about there. And they have this website also has NHL League related logos. So like the National Hockey League, the Stadium Series, Eastern Conference, Western Conference, all that good stuff. Stanley Cup playoffs, the draft, all that. The Heritage Classic. So these are outdated logos, as you can tell. These are like 2015, 2013, 2014, stuff like that. And they have these Chrome team logos that for the Stadium Series of 2014. I had no idea these existed until I visited the website, and they look so sick. I love the Devils one here. So I did not even know those existed, but they are really, really nice. So yeah, that'll do it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you guys disagree with any of my picks or all of them even. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.